out there in podcast land, and welcome back to the Front Row Movie Reviews podcast, the podcast for people who actually like movies. This is Front Row News. This is where you come every single week to get the biggest headlines and what we think about them in the world of movies. I'm Jeremy Geckner, the editor-in-chief of the Front Row Movie Reviews, and unfortunately, I'm doing this one solo tonight. That's right, it's time for a good old-fashioned solo episode of news with your old friend Jeremy Geckner. Unfortunately, I had a few conflicts that made it impossible for Craig to be here with me, so you're going to have to just deal with me and my weirdo opinions on all this stuff. And we're going to get to those opinions here in just a second, but I just wanted to start off the show with a few announcements. First of all, once again, just always, as always, thank you for the listens. Thank you for the downloads. We have now officially surpassed our biggest month in downloads, and we are only halfway through the month of May. And we had a feeling it was going to be a very big month. But, man, you guys have really come out to support us, and you've been getting the word out about the podcast. And we could not be, any more stoked about it than we already are. So thank you from the bottom of our hearts. We can't wait to see what the rest of the month has in store for us. Second, you've heard us talk a lot about our website, and I'm pleased to announce that our website, we are going to be doing a soft launch of the website this weekend, and sometime probably around Saturday or Sunday we'll do a soft launch, and a few people are going to be in on that. A few of our loyal listeners, we're going to be giving out the link to that to a few people privately to see how the site runs, and then on the 1-year anniversary of the Front Row Movie Reviews, that's going to be at the end of May, we are officially going to launch the new website. That is right. It is going to be fully operational, and everything is going to work quite pleasantly. Sorry, I had to adjust my microphone here for a second. But yeah, the website is going to be live, and I'm telling you, there's going to be so many things that is going to be explained about the website, probably on the next edition of Front Row News next week. So I'm going to save a little bit of that. But finally, I'm going to be able to, as Scott so eloquently puts it all the time, to push the damn button and make the website live. So very, very excited things. And last but not least, want to call out our sponsor, Killins Comics. This is such a great store on Wabash. It's so much more than comic books. Just there's memorabilia, there's videos, there's gaming systems, there's games, action figures, just so much stuff that you can buy at Killins Comics. I've spent so much money there already, but he's been so great, Damien the owner, and all of them over there. They've been really great about getting the word out and helping us advertise just a little bit more. So they have been our first sponsor, and they are going to have a nice permanent place in our hearts for a long, long time. But they've also taken the time to put us on the Pop Culture Network, the Pop Culture website, and we have a feeling that's kind of helped with our downloads. So go on and check that one out, popculturenetwork.com, and it's really, really cool. So thank you, Damien, and everyone over at Killins Comics. Go and check them out. All right, that's the announcement stuff out of the way. So let's give you what you came here for, the biggest news from the week in movies. Let's start it off with the lead-ins.
And now, fresh across the front row desk, it's the lead-ins, the biggest stories in movie news.
All right, the first story here is there is a shakeup that has happened at Warner Brothers Pictures. Now, for those of you who might not know, Warner Brothers is actually the company that distributes the DC comic book movies, Batman v Superman, Man of Steel, any of the upcoming Suicide Squad movie, all those things. But apparently, the Hollywood Reporter is reporting that apparently Warner Brothers has been very disappointed with the reception and with the financial numbers that have come in from Batman v Superman. The movie has made just around $900 million or so at the worldwide box office. Now, while that's a ridiculously huge number, with the trends that have been happening with comic book movies for the past couple of years, really you would expect with a movie with those two character names in the title to perform a lot better than Batman v Superman did. So basically what's happened now is that Warner Brothers has reshuffled the deck a little bit. They've put Geoff Johns and John Berg, who is the current vice president of Warner Brothers, executive vice president. They are going to co-run the DC side of things together. Now, there's a lot of other things that happened here. Certain other executives at Warner Brothers are now going to be in charge of just certain kinds of genre films. And from all reports, it says that they're doing this to try and emulate a little bit more what Marvel has done with the MCU, considering considering that Kevin Feige has been the head of that whole department since its inception. And, well, you can see what's happened. 13 films, over $10 billion worldwide. So basically, this sounds like a response in that this is specifically being done so that they can kind of try and structure themselves more like Marvel does to make for more financial success in the future. Honestly, the report's a little confusing. It sounds like, they want to, they're admitting that they've done some things wrong, but at the same time they're like, well, we're still very pleased with the success of Batman v Superman. Well, clearly you're not. You're making a lot of really big shuffles here. Look, Geoff Johns, he is an amazing comic book guy. All right, this guy has written comics. He's been in writing rooms for all kinds of comic book properties. So he's also been very successful at helping to adapt the DC television universe with Arrow and The Flash and Legends of Tomorrow. So he and Greg Berlanti had a big hand in that. So, it seems like a really good move. Now, he hasn't had quite as good of a track record with producing films, most notably the Green Lantern movie starring Ryan Reynolds, which was, just this side of a steaming pile of dog crap. So, time will tell, but at least they're getting somebody who knows the material better than anybody else. And, of course, that was really what makes Kevin Feige so great on the Marvel side of things. He knows the material so well, and he's never, ever going to sacrifice too much stuff to do the characters right. And it sounds like DC's trying to fix that problem, because that was really a lot of the big problems a lot of people had with Batman v Superman, is that the characters, aside from Batman, I mean, there were even certain quibbles about Batman, but they just didn't quite feel like they're supposed to when we read them on the page. And not that they need to be exact carbon copies of comic books, but you should still try and keep the spirit of the character together. So like I said, yeah, I mean, this is, we're going to see if this actually helps out and does a lot of things. There's a lot of properties over at Warner Brothers right now, but ultimately, I personally think, look, I like Geoff Johns. He's a great comic book guy. He's one of us, so to speak, one of the fellow sweaties. So, basically, after Batman v Superman, you can only try and go up from this point. So hopefully this will be a good thing for DC, and hopefully it'll help to get the universe back in order and back on track, because ultimately I would love to see the DC universe fully realized in what we all think that it should be. All right, so let's move on to the next lead-in. This one, another bit of a kind of sad news, depending on the way you look at it, but Godzilla, the remake that came out a couple of years ago, that was directed by a man named Gareth Edwards. Now, if you don't know him, he has a really, really good eye for directing. I believe he directed Monsters as well, a movie that was really, really good, lower budget type thing. But he was all set to write and direct the sequel, Godzilla 2, to be due out in a couple of years. But unfortunately, he has now departed the project. And by all reports, it says that the studio and Edwards have separated amicably, that there's no bad blood, there wasn't creative differences or anything. It's just that, Gareth Edwards did just get done shooting Rogue One. He's probably deep into the post-production editing of that. There's a couple of rumors about being involved in other Star Wars properties. And also there's a few rumors rumbling about a couple of Marvel things that might be happening with Gareth Edwards too. So it sounds like, by all accounts, from what Edwards and from what I believe, once again, Legendary Pictures, who had Godzilla, it sounds like both of them just said, I just want to do a few other things. I don't think I can give the right amount of time to this that it needs to be. So you should really just find somebody else to direct this so that it can be as good as it needs to be. Now, a lot of people want to ask, does this put the movie in jeopardy? Absolutely not. Godzilla was a huge financial hit for the studio, and they're going to want to get the sequel out on time when they announced it, because if you'll remember, they now have a shared universe with the King Kong films. So this is what's going to happen here. They are not going to jeopardize a movie like Kong vs. Godzilla that is due out, I believe, in 2019, just because of a director leaving the project. Apparently the script is in, and they're already doing edits on it and such, so there's not really a lot of stuff that needs to be delayed here. Just find somebody else to helm the thing. And I'm sure Edwards can have a little bit of say in that too. So the studio is going to be fine. The movie is still going to go forward. Still, it does kind of suck, because I actually really did like that Godzilla remake. I didn't mind that the monster wasn't shown a ton. I didn't mind that, Aaron Taylor Johnson, Elizabeth Olsen, that story was kind of whatever. I loved the action beats. I loved how the film was shot. And, it really got me amped. The only thing I really didn't like at all was that all of a sudden Bryan Cranston's just wasted in that movie. And for those of you who've seen it, you know what I'm talking about. For those who haven't, I won't spoil it for you. But really, you kind of wasted the talents of Bryan Cranston there. But by all rights, it sounds like we are still going to be getting Godzilla 2 on time, and that can only be a good thing. So there you go. That is it for the lead-in stories. Now let's get to the section that we've got some great response on this, but let's do the quick hits. Quick hits on the Front Row Movie Reviews. All right, if you've never heard Front Row News before, this is how this works. I get about 30 seconds to tell you what I think of these really quick stories, these other stories that weren't quite the lead ones coming into the week. So let's kick it off with the first one.
Harley Quinn spin-off movie in the works at WB.
You know, a Harley Quinn movie on her own, like this does not... I understand why some people could be apprehensive about this, because we haven't even seen Suicide Squad yet. We don't even know what Margot Robbie's doing as Harley Quinn. So now the fact that Warner Brothers is over there talking about a solo spin-off movie for Harley Quinn and a lot of others in the DC universe, female characters, you know, it sounds a little strange. But look, I mean, executives do this all the time. They'll see the dailies of a film that's in production, or, you know, finished in first and second cuts of films that are in post-production, like Suicide Squad is, and, you know, they'll think like, okay, this looks, you know, we're getting a lot of really good stuff. They'll start testing it with audiences, and audiences will start saying, you know, we're really digging this character. And it sounds like that's by all rights what's happening here with Margot Robbie as Harley Quinn, which is amazingly great news for all comic book fans, because that is one of the great characters in comic book history. It's going to be very interesting to see what Margot Robbie does. But, you know, if it's going to happen, it's going to happen. It sounds like it's good. And I love the thought of, you know, adding in Birds of Prey and a few of the other like femme fatales from the DC Comics universe. Sounds like it's going to be really good. Man, I got to tighten up my time. All right, let's move on to the next one.
Michael B. Jordan joins the Black Panther cast.
Man, Marvel just can't stop adding talent, can they? You know, Ryan Coogler is already directing and writing the Black Panther movie. We've already seen Chadwick Boseman as Prince T'Challa, and man, did he knock it out of the park. I thought in Captain America Civil War, my favorite character in that entire movie, aside from Iron Man. But now you add Michael B. Jordan, an actor of his caliber, and of course, I mean, Ryan Coogler and Jordan, this will be the third time they work together as a director-actor combo. First was Fruitvale Station, one of the most underrated movies of the past couple of years, and then, of course, in Creed, which was just an amazing pairing. It sounds like it's going to be there again, man, and there's rumors they're circling Lupita Nyong'o, the Academy Award winner, to be in this film, too. Man, this film is looking like it's going to be so epic and filled with talent. I cannot wait. All right, let's move on to the next one.
Jack Black and Kevin Hart join The Rock in Jumanji Remake.
Now, look, here's the thing, right? I'm one of these people that doesn't think that Jumanji needs to be remade. I really don't. Or I think that if you're going to remake it, I think this is one of those where you should really try to continue the Jumanji story as opposed to acting like the Robin Williams one didn't happen. Now, there's been some reports that is what's going to be the case, but then the very first reports of this remake were that it's going to be a remake. It's going to assume the first one didn't happen. Look, I have an intense love of Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson. I watched him when he first debuted in wrestling all the way through. I don't watch wrestling anymore, but man, he was one of the best at that. And, you know, his film career, I think that he's just a really good actor and that he's got some versatility, and I just love everything that he's been in so far. You know, you put him in this, Kevin Hart joining in there, you know, from All Right, Central Intelligence is getting pretty good buzz. They're saying that the pairing is really good. And then look, Jack Black, like, you know, whatever you think about him, this is actually the kind of material that would probably work pretty well for Jack Black. It's kind of over the top, it's kind of goofy. Maybe he's playing kind of the David Alan Grier type character of the group, even though that does seem like it would suit Kevin Hart a little more. No, but look, I mean, like, Jumanji, it sounds like it's going to be something cool, and with The Rock in there, these three guys, they're all really funny. It sounds like it could be a pretty good adventure. So for right now, I am tentatively on board with the Jumanji remake. This has finally got me there. All right, let's do the last one.
Shia LaBeouf cast as John McEnroe in Borg McEnroe.
I'm gonna say this right now. I don't know if there's ever been a more perfect casting right off the top of my head than what I'm seeing with this one. Shia LaBeouf as John McEnroe. I don't even know. Like Shia LaBeouf, I actually personally really like this kid as an actor. Like I think he's got a ton of talent in him. And for those of you who have only seen him do his Just Do It videos, or talking about getting arrested at the cabaret on Jimmy Kimmel, like this kid's got some great talent. If you've never seen A Guide to Recognizing Your Saints, Lawless, Fury, anything like that, this kid has a great amount of talent in him. And honestly, like he kind of looks like McEnroe a little bit, but like the personality, the way he does it. I mean, go online on YouTube, watch his Just Do It videos in front of the green screen, and it's total McEnroe. So I would actually dare say, if Borg McEnroe can actually be one of those films that's aiming high, aiming for awards consideration, this could be a potential Academy Award winning pairing here of actor to material. So I'm really, really digging this, and I think that this could be something really special. All right, so that's it for the quick hits. So we're going to dust off an old segment here that we haven't done in a while. It's the What the Hell item of the week.
Hi there, I have a quick survey for you to fill out. It'll just take a second. Question 1. What the f***? WWTF. What the f***? What the f***?
Now, this is where we're just going to tell you something, a news item that dropped that this is just not going to work. It just makes us scratch our heads and say, what the hell? Apparently, there is a studio, and I'm blanking on the studio name right now, so I apologize, but they are developing a Tetris movie that is apparently going to be some kind of action-adventure type movie. And not only are they developing one, but they're developing 3. That's right, we're getting a Tetris trilogy in movies. Oh, what the hell? I don't even know where to start with this. I'm not going to get too deep into this. This sounds terrible. This sounds really, really terrible. I mean, like, look, I love Tetris. I played Tetris my entire life. I love it. It's a fun game to play to waste some time. But how you can't make a movie out of it? I mean, like, what's it going to be? Like, Tetris is like alien invaders? They're like, oh, no, it's the log 4 block 1. Like, no, it does not work. I got to say, like, as we ended every of the What the Hell item of the week segments, but a few when we did them a while back, studio guys, what the hell? All right, so that's it for the What the Hell item of the week. All right, let's get into the trailers here. As always, we're going to tell you what we're going to do first. We're going to do Ghostbusters, the second trailer that dropped a couple of days ago, and then we're going to break down the trailer for Assassin's Creed. So if you haven't seen those, pause the podcast, and we will get there to you. But for now, it is time for the trailers. Hit the music! In a world filled with movie trailers, one podcast attempts to break them down. It's the new trailers on the Front Row Movie Reviews. Coming to a podcast near you in 5 seconds. All right, so here we go. We're going to start off with the second trailer, or third if you want to call it that, for the remake of Ghostbusters.
It will haunt you every night. Whatever it is, no one should have to encounter that kind of evil. Except you girls. I think you can handle it.
Oh, good. Thanks.
This trailer, I'm going to admit this does not look as bad as the first one. There's actually a few more laugh moments here, and a lot of the jokes didn't fall quite as flat for me in this one. But I gotta say, like, I'm still not really sold that this is going to be a good movie. And look, Paul Feig has pulled that on us before. His trailers haven't always looked good. I thought the Bridesmaids trailer was just really, really awful, and that turned out to be a great, great comedy. Spy, the same way. I thought that movie did not look very good at all. Lo and behold, the movie comes out, and I'm laughing my ass off with my wife. So, but this, I mean, like, the trailer's fine. It, we get a little bit more storyline, like somebody's building some machine to amplify paranormal activity in New York. But, it's just really the only humor I liked in the trailer was Leslie Jones's, and, it's pretty much all the comedy they gave us there. But I kind of just feel like this movie isn't really like finding the spirit of the Ghostbusters. I don't mind if you want to put an all-female cast in Ghostbusters. That's fine with me. But, like, it doesn't feel like it looks like they're just kind of playing dress up, Like, it's just like, let's get a bunch of SNL girls together and really funny ladies together and just, like, put them in Ghostbusters costume and just let them riff and see what happens. I mean, I'll still go see it. Don't get me wrong, and I'm rooting for it. I want it to be good because the Ghostbusters are such a great franchise to try and mine, but unfortunately, I mean, it doesn't really do much for me. And plus, it looks like they gave away a big part of this, that Chris Hemsworth character looks like he's going to be, like, possessed by a ghost in some way and become, like, the main villain a little bit. Like, there were a few shots that made it look that way. So, I mean, like, if that's true, that's going to be kind of a bummer that you showed us that in the trailer. I will say, though, I did laugh at the, Leslie Jones trying to walk out with the ghost on her shoulders and everybody's trying to take a selfie with it. I really did like that bit, but again, like, that might be the funniest thing in the movie. So, unfortunately, a better trailer in my opinion, but still not quite enough to get me excited. All right, so let's finish it up here with the first trailer for Assassin's Creed.
What kind of prison is this?
It's not a prison. You're about to enter the Animus. What you're about to see, hear, and feel are the memories of your ancestor, who's been dead for 500 years.
What do you want from me?
Your past.
Now, this movie stars Michael Fassbender, is the adaptation of the popular video game series. This follows a death row inmate who he gets kind of pseudo-rescued / kidnapped by this organization who tells him he's the descendant of a member of this ancient league of assassins that kind of work to better the world a little bit, it sounds like. And they want to use him to kind of go back into his ancestors' consciousness, I guess. Basically he ends up back in the Spanish Inquisition with a lot of really cool flipping and knife skills. Look, this movie, it was fine. The trailer looks fine to me. I don't understand why Kanye West keeps getting used in trailer music. I mean, like, I don't have any, terrible problems with Kanye West right now, but, like, it's just like, it just seems very strange to me. It's like, it's always a Kanye song. But, this movie, look, it looks like they've got the action pretty nailed from the video game. I never really thought the Assassin's Creed games were big on narrative, so it's going to be really interesting to see how they're going to try and blend all this together. But, look, you got Michael Fassbender, you got Marion Cotillard, you got two amazing caliber actors right there. And, look, this could be the movie that really sets off a video game adaptation craze. It really could if it's good. Very big caveat there, if it is good and very well received. But look, the trailer, it did its job. It got me amped to see it. I do want to see this movie. Now, I don't know how smart it is to release this movie right next to Rogue One coming up in December, but whatever. It is what it is. Obviously, the studio feels like they've got a lot of confidence in this film if they're going to put it in that slot. But look, the trailer, the action looks really good and crisp. Of course, Michael Fassbender, he's one of the best actors we got going today of this generation. And Marion Cotillard, she's never not given a good performance, in my opinion. So. I really dug the trailer, and I hope that the movie actually delivers on the promise of it. So, hey, why don't you guys tell us what you think of these two trailers? Get on Facebook, search for the Front Row Movie Reviews, and tell us what you thought of the trailers. All right, let's do everyone's favorite segment to close out the show. It's time for the Mailbag. Mailbag. Mailbag.
It's time for the mailbag.
Mailbag.
It's time for the mailbag, yo.
Email us at thefrontrowmoviereviews@gmail.com.
All right, that's the email address to send to if you want to get your question on Front Row News, thefrontrowmoviereviews@gmail.com. And starting in a couple weeks, you can also send those in through the website, thefrontrowmoviereviews.com. All right, so this first question here is from Ryder the Black. Thank you for writing in, Ryder. He says, haven't heard you guys talking about the upcoming Tarzan movie. Should I be excited about this movie? Yeah, that's very true. This actually is coming out in a couple of weeks or a couple of months, I think. It's one of those summer tentpole movies for the studio. But this movie stars Alexander Skarsgård and Margot Robbie and Christoph Waltz, Samuel L. Jackson. Really, really big things. Apparently, it's kind of a updated version of oh god, I'm gonna butcher the name, but I think it's like the Earl of Basingstoke. It's one of the older Tarzan books, but it was actually a movie in the 80s starring Christopher Lambert about how Tarzan is actually in England now, and he's kind of an English lord of sorts, and that he gets called back to the jungle jungle for some kind of emergency, and all about how he tries to deal with that. Look, the trailers look great. Like, the trailers look like they've really nailed the action. The look is very unique. It's almost kind of a bleak, like gray color palette working here, but like I said, the action looks really, really crisp. You put that cast together, I mean, like, yeah, I'll watch those 4 people in anything. It could be, I don't know, sitting and reading the phone book for an hour. Yeah, I think you should be very excited about this film, Ryder. I know I'm going to be. We'll try and talk about it a lot more once we get near. But it's a very, very, looks like it's going to be a very cool movie to watch. We could be totally wrong on that, but, if the director, if the acting pedigree is any, because I believe David Yates directed this film. Don't quote me on that, but I mean, the guy who did the last 3 Harry Potter films and the upcoming Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them. So, a lot of good stuff happening in this film. I'm thinking you're going to see a lot more materials once it gets really close. But yeah, I'm excited about that film, so I think you should be too, Ryder. So thank you for the question. And our last question of this episode comes from Jason Cruz. I read in an interview that Simon Kinberg was talking about making a more fun sequel to Fantastic Four. Do you think this means that it is really going to stay at Fox? Well, Jason, thank you for writing in. Look, I think Simon Kinberg in this press conference where he was talking about, we're really looking forward to making a brighter, more fun sequel to Fantastic Four. I think he's paying a little bit of lip service here. And honestly, I think it's probably Fox trying to see if there really is any kind of vocal fan base that's wanting to see this cast return to do even anything with the Fantastic Four. Personally, look, I don't think Fox is going to touch this franchise again until the rights relapse. I think Marvel is going to get it back. I honestly think that we might get at Comic-Con. We might get an announcement of this. Don't quote me on that at all, but I think we might actually get an announcement of a, Marvel Fox joint venture for just the Fantastic Four catalog. Or that, Fox has completely sold all the rights back to Marvel. They don't even want anything to do with it anymore. But do I think that Fox is going to keep Fantastic? No, I don't think that you're going to see another Fantastic Four film. I'll put it this way. I think the next time you see the Fantastic Four in film, it is going to be under the Marvel Cinematic Universe banner. And I think it's actually going to be a lot of what Phase 4 is going to deal with. Because you can get those characters back, opens up a lot of cosmic stuff. Everybody wants to wonder, where do you go after Thanos? Galactus is one of those Fantastic Four characters, and that would be a threat even bigger than Thanos if they did it right. So, I think that is going to happen. It will go back to Marvel. If I'm Fox, I'm thinking, look, this property's not going to get me anything anymore. I would start just cutting my losses now, we can get something for it. It's kind of like baseball, if you got a free agent to be on your roster that's really good that a lot of teams want, it's better to go and trade him now at the deadline, get something for him, and then instead of just losing him at the end of the season. So I think Comic-Con, you might actually get something like this. But no, to answer your question directly, Jason, no, I do not think it's going to stay at Fox. I think the next time you see the Fantastic Four in movies, you will be seeing it under the MCU banner. All right, guys, that is it. That is all I got for you for this episode of Front Row News. Thank you for bearing with me doing this thing solo. Again, just to recap, go and visit our sponsor, Killins Comics, out there on Wabash in Springfield. Great store. Yeah, well, we're obviously going to keep plugging him because they're our freaking sponsor. But also, look, if you want to find and get in touch with us, you can email us at thefrontrowmoviereviews@gmail.com. You can find us on Instagram by searching for the Front Row Movie Reviews. You can find us on Twitter by searching at Front Row Reviews with a Z. And then you can also find us on Facebook by searching for the Front Row Movie Reviews. And again, soft launch of the website happening this weekend. And then on the anniversary at the end of May, I'll get you the exact date and put it on Facebook and Twitter. We will be officially launching our brand new website and telling you a lot more about that next week. So, guys, as always, thank you for the support. Thank you for everything. Go out there, go see some movies. Go tell us what you think of them, too. I'm Jeremy Geckner for the Front Row Movie Reviews, and as always, we will see you in the front row.